Hi, I'm Bruce Lorincz, and this show is called Bruce on the Loose. We're very excited to be on location at the Salvation Army off College Street with Captain
Yes.
Ashley Ferrell. And welcome to Wadsworth. You've been here just a few months, and what's your impression of our fair city?
Oh my goodness, everything is amazing here. The people are wonderful. The Salvation Army has a great reputation. It's been led very well in the past, so I'm really excited to be here.
And I gathered and we're talking beforehand, you're an ordained minister.
I am, yes. The Salvation Army has its own seminary up in New York. So people who run the Salvation Army, 9 times out of 10, are ordained ministers and the acting CEO of whatever community they're in.
How did you first get involved in the Salvation Army organization?
Yes, so my family has been a part of the Salvation Army since the Salvation Army's beginnings. My family is originally from London, England, and actually came over to the United States and have been a part of the Salvation Army ever since. So I grew up with the Salvation Army being my church and my safe place. And as I got older, I realized that it was the one place where I felt like I could do what the Lord called me to do, and I can do a million different things within one job. So I get bored easily. I didn't want to have to get bored.
About 3 weeks ago, my wife and I and relatives went to London for
nice.
a trip, and also took the Channel to Paris and also Normandy. And
That's
unfortunately,
fun.
the Queen passed away during that time.
Oh,
and
wow.
what a monarch she was for many, many decades in your native country.
Yes, absolutely.
What so you got involved because of your parents' situation. I imagine this time of year and with COVID, it's really gratifying to help people.
It is. I mean, honestly, there's just so much need. And our community here in Wadsworth is incredible. We have so many people who are trying to meet those needs and collaborating well in order to do it. So it's just a blessing to be a part of it.
That's really important. You can't really stand alone. You need to work with other people. How do you get all the food items you get for distribution? I'm sure with the supply chain and the cost, that's been a challenge.
It has been a challenge, especially since COVID. Everybody is in need. COVID really leveled the playing fields as to what it looks like to be in crisis. And it's not even necessarily like a funding crisis, but even just having the items to get. I mean, everyone went to the store and struggled to find the things that they needed during COVID. And we're experiencing that sometimes even now today. So we've been very fortunate here at the Wadsworth Salvation Army. We partner really well with Bueller's. They're an incredible company that are employee run, and they work so well with us. One of their store managers is on our board, and we work well together to be able to place orders of food for our pantry so that everybody has what they need. When I first arrived here at the end of June, beginning of July, we were just handing out non-perishable items, which is wonderful. It's important. But since then, we've been able to partner with Bueller's to be able to offer fresh fruits and vegetables and then dairy products as well. So everybody who comes in receives a carton of eggs and a gallon of milk, fresh fruit and fresh vegetable. So we're really trying to meet those needs in not necessarily new ways, but in a more fulfilled way. We've also recently made a partnership with the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank, and that has allowed us to be able to receive items in bulk and be able to distribute a lot easier for our community who's in need.
In a way, COVID has helped us because it's almost forced us to look outside our confines and pair up with other organizations.
Absolutely.
As you did. What about Medina County? Do you do some things with the county?
I just had a brief introduction with Feeding Medina County. Last night we were both at an event where we were recipients of some funds from the Eagles, and I just had a conversation with her. So we're gearing up to begin a partnership there as well. And of course, the Medina Salvation Army does a fantastic job for their section of the county, and we all work closely together too, just colleagues in arms. So doing our best to meet the needs without having to run ourselves ragged. There are people who want to help, and we want to work well together.
I'm curious about the rank of the Salvation Army. You're the captain.
I am.
But does it your tenure, does that play into it?
Yes. So the ranks of the Salvation Army go by years served.
Oh,
So
okay.
for the first 5 years, you're a lieutenant, and then for the next 10 years, you are a captain, and then when you hit 15 years of service, you become a major. Most people stop there. There are a couple other ranks, but those are really appointment-based and not time-based.
Okay. We talk about the Salvation Army, and sometimes we forget about an arm that really is very helpful, the auxiliary.
Oh, my
What
goodness,
is
yes.
the Salvation Army Auxiliary? How long have they been with the sister group, and what do they do?
So the Salvation Army Auxiliary and our advisory board are both groups that come together to help the Salvation Army to be the legs and the hands and the feet of the ministry that we're doing here. So the Women's Auxiliary has been around for many years, and in our community specifically, we have an incredibly strong auxiliary. There are over 100 members. There are about anywhere from 50 to 75 that are incredibly active. We have some that are sustaining and just continue to support, but our auxiliary is a force to be reckoned with. They are a volunteer army of ladies who come in and they help pack with our soup kitchen, they help pack with our pantry. Some of them go and they tutor in our education programs. They are just here for anything and everything, and they do an incredible job. And our advisory board as well, on the other hand, is filled with professionals in our community who are experts in their area, who then can help me to be able to make some decisions about our community because they know it best. I'm brand new here and I'm still learning the ins and outs of the community, but I'm surrounded by a wealth of knowledge in my staff, in my auxiliary, and in my board.
I'm sure it makes you feel good with that support and suggestions. You know, the seasons sometimes change, and something could come up, something with a tradition with the community you're not aware of, and they certainly will remind you, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. They're incredible. And I have a staff who is very well versed. One of my employees, Lindsay Kircher, she's been with the Salvation Army here in Wadsworth for over 20 years. So we just have a wealth of knowledge with all of our team that plays a huge role in how we can serve the community.
Speaking of serving the community, what about education? I'm 38 years in education. That's something that's near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
How do you help some of the students affiliated with your program?
I am so proud of the education programs that we have here in Wadsworth because they're unique. And a lot of Salvation Armies, they do education programs, whether it's an after-school program or a music instruction or life skills, but it's really like an everyday thing. And at times, it can become more of like a babysitting service, unfortunately. But in our community, we have partnered with the schools to create our learning center where children are actually referred to our program by their guidance counselor. So our program starts a few weeks after school starts. That way we can start getting some referrals. That way teachers can start to say, okay, this child may be struggling in this area. We want to get them extra help. So let's refer them to the Salvation Army Learning Center where they can get one-on-one tutoring to be able to help them do the best that they can. This allows for us to not have to worry about kids who aren't really invested in being there or don't really need to be there. It allows us to focus in on children who are having issues or troubles in certain areas, and we can really work one-on-one to help fix that. We also have a GED program that's been going about 7 years at this location, where twice a week individuals who are trying to get their GED can come in the evenings after work and be able to work one-on-one with our GED teacher so that they're able to work through the program and be able to, you know, better themselves and better their lives and their education.
That GED certificate opens doors, doesn't it?
Really
Sometimes
does.
people think it's not that significant, but even today, that GED is very significant.
Absolutely.
A lot of people are moving in. There's various vacancies and plots in Wadsworth that they're building houses. Sometimes those people have been moving from place to place, but it's really good to have that support, Salvation Army, especially with the job situation and the young children.
Absolutely. And we do the best that we can to offer help for the entire individual, the whole family unit. So it's not just that you can come here to receive something to eat. It's not just that your children can get help in their schooling. We also provide financial assistance. We're a church first and foremost, so we have, our worship services, so we can help with spiritual matters. We can be a safe place in general for recreation, for fun, but also just for taking care of the whole person. Our goal is to make sure that in every area of someone's life, they know that they can turn to the Salvation Army for help and support.
The last week of the month is really unique here. Is that when the soup kitchen opens?
So it used to be.
Okay.
We've actually changed that. It
All right.
used to be that just the last week of the month, people would be able to get a hot meal at Soup Kitchen. We've actually shifted that so that we're able to meet the needs of our community in a more consistent way. And now every Tuesday evening, we prepare a hot meal here, and we actually take it to the Wadsworth Towers, and we meet people right there downtown in their community, and they're able to take a meal home every week. So this means that we're getting to see people more consistently than just the last week of the month, and be able to be involved in people's everyday lives a bit more because we're meeting them every week to prepare a meal.
Yeah, there was a gap there. I mean, if you talk last week of October and then you had to wait a whole month, there could be a lot of things go on during that 30-day period.
Exactly. So now every week they know for sure that they're going to get a hot meal from the Salvation Army on Tuesday.
And how is that prepared? Do you have volunteers sign up ahead of time?
We do.
Does the staff do it all? And that would be too much.
It's a mix. Captain Barbara Cure, she is a retired Salvation Army officer, and she actually works here, and she has taken over leadership of the soup kitchen and done a phenomenal job. So she and her volunteers prepare food, pack up the food here at the building, and then they take them. Our women's auxiliary, they're too sweet, and they donate desserts every single week. That way all of our people can have a sweet treat. And then we also work with some community groups who will randomly come in and prepare a meal for us as well. But for the most part, it's taken care of by Captain Barb and her very small group of volunteers, and they manage to feed anywhere from 35 to 40 people a week.
And it's consistent. The people know at the towers they're going to get the visitation.
Yes.
The volunteers know that every Tuesday they could put it on their calendar unless they have a conflict. And it really seems to be an organized situation.
Yeah, it's going really well. We're starting to see, at first it was just people who lived in the towers who were coming, but now people are walking over from around the neighborhood to make sure they get that meal.
Oh, that makes the volunteers, I would think, feel very good that the word is out, and this is Tuesday, and I can go ahead and get help from the Salvation Army.
Yes.
Okay, that was our first segment. We really appreciate the background. We've talked about a lot of things so far, but we have more to go.
Yes, we do.
We'll be back in a moment. Back with Ashley Ferrell here at the Salvation Army. It's really good to be on location in your chapel now. And I think this is the kind of the foundation and cornerstone, if you will, of the Salvation Army. And you have services, I gather, every Sunday.
We do. Yep. I'm the pastor here and take care of all of the regular operations. So yeah, we meet every Sunday. We have a small congregation, but a very faithful congregation. So we gather here every Sunday for worship, and it's a beautiful time of fellowship.
And I see you up with technology. I see a couple of TVs on the wall as well, and as a lot of other churches are doing that as well. And we need to get with the age, don't we?
Yes, we do. Actually, we're working on being able to upgrade some of the systems that we have now. We're just waiting to be in our new facility, which we'll chat about a little bit later, and be able to upgrade even further. That way we can really just meet the needs of modern world. And with COVID, we learned a lot about how important technology is in the church. So we want to be able to move forward with that and to be able to give our people the best worship experience that they can have.
I imagine it was nice to have people in your governing bodies that knew a little bit about technology. So it's all not on your plate.
Yes.
Because, as things go on, you find out there's more responsibilities, more things that someone forgot to tell you. And it's really good to have that support and guidance.
It's true. Actually, my first Sunday here, I was so nervous because I was brand new to the community, had never met the people that were in my church, and they're welcoming a new pastor for the first first time. And the night before, I actually cried because I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know who's going to run the PowerPoint for me. So it was one of those things, like the most practical thing about a service, how are we going to display the information? And I was like very overwhelmed because it was my first Sunday and I wasn't sure how that was going to work. So.
You came to the Wadsworth area from Barberton, I believe.
I did.
So how are the communities similar?
Oh my goodness. It's so funny because it's really right down the road.
Mm-hmm.
It's 9 miles away. And honestly, the communities couldn't be more different. There are obviously a lot of similarities because we're in a small area in Ohio. So there are a lot of similarities, but there are also a lot of differences. Wadsworth is really amazing at collaborating and does a fantastic job with that. Barberton just operates in a little bit different of a way, and the Barberton Salvation Army is actually a part of the Summit County Salvation Army as a whole, so the operation is just a little bit different. In Wadsworth, it's a standalone corps, so the way we function is just a tiny bit different than the way Barberton does.
Okay. The Bible studies and the Sunday services really help people during the week. To me, it's a situation where you, again, have that support. Mm-hmm. If things don't go very well, you can always go ahead and resort to the Bible and to the powers of the Lord.
Absolutely. And like I said, our congregation is small at this point, but because of that, they truly are like a family. It's incredible to see them interact throughout the week and on Sunday, and many of them have been a part of this church for many years, so they know each other incredibly well, which is something that you can sometimes miss out on going to a larger congregation. But this has a very much, it has a family feel, and I love being able to worship alongside of them and serve them in this way.
During the Lenten season, we have combined services. The city goes to the Grace Church downtown, and the Salvation Army has participated in that for years and years.
Oh,
and
beautiful.
That, again, collaboration, you hit on it. Wadsworth is really known for that, and,
It is.
and people probably aren't aware of that the way it is here in town.
Yeah, it's incredible. Stepping in new to something and feeling like, oh my gosh, there's so much need and there's so much to tackle. It's incredible when I sit down and look at some of the nonprofit resource guides and the different service clubs and all the things that we have going on, and I'm like, wow, these people really care, and it's just incredible to be a part of. I was at an Eagles event yesterday where they were giving out funds for recipients, and over again we heard from everyone who accepted a donation how blessed they were to be in the room with so many people who cared so much. And I just feel like that echoes throughout Wadsworth, is that the care for the people who live here, for the community, for the state of our town is huge, and they just want the best for everyone involved, and that shines through in their service programs.
Yeah, gratitude is a good situation to be in. You're really grateful for the situation where I imagine the people coming to the church service here, getting the recipients, the good food you're providing and the guidance. I'm sure they're very grateful too.
They are, and we hear time after time how excited people are to be involved, and how grateful they are to receive. And actually, our bell ringing kettle season is coming up, and we take volunteers who help with that every year. And one of the incredible things that we hear from volunteers is there were so many stories. Everyone who put $1 in had something to say about how the Salvation Army impacted their life. And it's just the most beautiful thing to be able to be blessed and to hear that you're a part of something so much bigger than yourself, which is impacting so many people.
I don't know how I could forget the red kettles, but people think that's the only thing you do. I wanted to say that there were other things during this
there's
show,
so many
but
other
that's
things.
right around the corner. We're looking at
Yes.
November right in the face, and that helps a great deal with the programming you do throughout the year, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. If we did not have kettles, we wouldn't be able to provide the services that we do. It's our most visible fundraiser, and it's the one that we need the most help with. So we absolutely need volunteers to jump on that. You can actually sign up online, which is very convenient. You can just go to savolunteer.org and select your location and your time slot. It's an incredible experience. If I could give up leading the kettle effort and just ring bells all the time, I would 100%, but that's really up to our community to do. So we're grateful.
Could they also call the Salvation Army here to volunteer?
Absolutely.
And do you go ahead and have various locations throughout the city? I know
we do.
You mentioned Bueller's. They always really have kettles there, but a lot of other places.
Yep, we ring at Bueller's, we ring at Giant Eagle, both doors of Walmart, and actually Big Lots.
Okay, all right, that's great. So we really learned a lot this segment, and let's ask you the final question in this segment.
Okay.
Why is this building seems confined, and why would you be involved in a project to build a new facility?
Yes, so this building, we've really just outgrown what we're able to do here. We do have a pantry, we have education programs that right now have to meet off-site because we don't have space. Since I've come, we've started a couple other new programs, and we're just limited for what we can offer because of the size of our building. So over the last 10 years, and specifically really pushing hard over the last 5 years, the Salvation Army Board and the community have been raising funds in order to dream big and have a new facility, and we're gonna see that in the next segment.
Okay, thank you very much. Looking forward to, we'll trek outside and see this new facility. It's not far away.
No, it's not.
Okay, we'll be back in a second.
Thank you.
We're here with our last segment, Ashley Ferrell. And Ashley, this is the site for your new facility. I'm sure you just can't believe and pinch yourself when we mention that.
I pinch myself often when I mention that, because the dreams and the prayers and the hard work of so many people who've come before me, I just feel so grateful to be able to be a part of this now, when we're so close to breaking ground. It's an incredible feeling.
Can you capsulize for us some of the process that went into this decision making?
Yes, absolutely. So the Salvation Army does program feasibility studies when they want to be able to bring in a new facility. So the leadership who was here before, and the board and the auxiliary and the community really just came together and said, we have such a powerful opportunity for impact. We just need a bigger space to do it. So this process has been happening for several years, and really within the last 5 years has geared up and kicked into gear the opportunity to meet with an architect, to begin the plans for the building, to really kick up our fundraising efforts. Right now, we're already raised right around $2.4 million on a $3.5 million project. So as soon as we hit 75% of that, we're able to put a shovel in the ground and begin construction on our beautiful new facility.
I think the sign here next to us kind of lets us know where we're at.
Yes.
So people watching this can help and donate as well.
Absolutely, yes. If you're interested in donating, you just need to earmark it on your check or on your donation that it's for the capital campaign, and every dollar will go toward that. So we're really excited to have the community get involved in that way.
If I remember correctly, there were 2 houses on this location. Is that correct? And
yes, there were.
They were purchased by the Salvation Army, and you have the lot ready to go, and it's considerably bigger than your small little building next door.
Yes, it is. Actually, one of the homes was donated to the Salvation Army for this purpose. They were both demoed earlier this year, and the ground is ready for new things and bigger and better things and better ways to serve our community.
So you were talking about some of the things that you have to outsource will be in this facility?
Yes, the biggest thing being our education programs. For many years, we have relied either on the school to provide areas for us. Right now, we are being graciously hosted by First Christian Church for our after-school program, for our learning center. But as soon as we build our new facility, we'll have 3 classrooms dedicated to that ministry and that service to the community.
The last census said that Wadsworth grew by a little over 2% a year. So that really fits in with the community. And again, as I'm been here for a while, there's not an open space that isn't a house going up.
It's true.
And there's certainly services that you would maybe be providing.
Absolutely. As the community grows and as the economy changes, people are in more need than ever, and we're here to meet that need. And soon we'll be physically here at this lot to meet that need.
What will happen to the old building?
So the old building will remain up during construction. That way we can continue to meet needs throughout that time. And then once we successfully move into the new building, the old building will be torn down. We'll use that area for parking and for outdoor ministry. There are plans in the future for hopefully a playground and a pavilion and other ways that we can meet needs in the community.
So it's not just the new building, but you're even thinking beyond that for other things, for families to augment their needs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we have to think that way. You know, whatever is coming next really needs to be thought out years in advance. So we're dreaming big here at the Salvation Army because we want to make sure that we're having big impact on the community.
No question about it. Do you foresee you being here for a while to see this get done?
Yes, I sure hope so. In conversations with our divisional leadership, the plan is to be here longer term so that we can see this through and really have some stability in our community and leadership in the Salvation Army. So hopefully, fingers crossed, unless something crazy changes, I'm in for the long haul.
That's wonderful. It's good to hear. And again, volunteers are always needed, not only to ring the bell, but to donate items, to augment educational wing. Volunteers are critical to the Salvation Army's success.
Yes, volunteers make our ministry possible. So if you're interested in volunteering, we would love to have you get involved. Again, you can visit our website. You can come in, you can call, and we'll get you settled with the perfect position to be able to meet needs according to your passions.
Ashley Drew is going to get some pictures of the lot here and in the pantry and some other things inside. So I do the show because I learn a lot.
That's great.
And I appreciate the invitation to come and talk to you and all the Salvation Army does for Wadsworth.
Thank you so much. I appreciate having you, and we look forward to working together and partnering in the future with each of you. Thank you.
Thanks for viewing Bruce on the Loose, and we'll be there at the expo coming up at the Suprema Senior Center. Thanks for viewing.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.